Pain is a signal, not a sentence. That's the part we forget. When we go through something, when life hits us hard, we often treat it like it's the end. We shut down, we start believing the pain is permanent, but it's not. The pain is a message, not a life sentence. It's there to tell you something. It's there to wake you up, not to shut you down. Most people misinterpret pain. They think because they're hurting, they've done something wrong, or they're broken, or they're not worthy. But pain doesn't mean you're finished. It means you're being formed. It means something inside you is shifting. It's trying to guide you toward your next level. Think about it. Pain is how the body talks. When you touch a hot stove, the pain tells you to pull back before you get burned. That pain is not there to punish you. It's there to protect you. Emotional pain is the same way. It shows up to say, hey, something here isn't working. Something needs to change. It could be a toxic relationship, a dead-end job, a dream you've been ignoring, a lifestyle that doesn't serve your potential. Pain doesn't come to tear you down. It comes to redirect you to your purpose. You just have to be willing to listen. But we don't like to listen. We like to numb the pain. We distract ourselves with noise, with social media, with excuses, with comfort. We run from the pain instead of running toward what it's trying to show us. And when we do that, we miss the message. Pain doesn't scream forever, but it will whisper until you get the lesson. If you keep ignoring it, life will keep repeating the test. You'll keep finding yourself in the same situations with the same frustration, the same heartbreak, until you finally stop and ask, oh, what is this trying to teach me? There are people out there who turn their entire life around because they decided to stop seeing pain as punishment and started seeing it as a wake-up call. That moment of betrayal, it taught them loyalty and boundaries. That job they got fired from, it forced them to start their own business. That rock bottom moment, it showed them their real strength. The truth is, pain wakes us up to who we really are. It strips away the fake, the distractions, the people-pleasing. It brings out the real you, the raw, focused, hungry version of you that you've been hiding. The worst thing you can do is let pain lie to you. Pain will try to convince you that it's permanent, that this is just your life now, that nothing will ever change. But pain doesn't last. It doesn't last. It's a state, it's a season, not a life sentence. And when you shift your mindset, when you stop treating pain like the enemy and start treating it like a teacher, everything changes. You become powerful. You become untouchable. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. You start asking the pain, why are you here? Instead of saying, why me? And look, nobody likes pain. This isn't about pretending it feels good. It doesn't. It hurts. It breaks you open. But that breaking is also birthing something. Just like muscle growth happens after the pain of tearing fibers in the gym, your growth as a person happens after your trials. The tears you cry in private are watering something that will bloom in public. You just have to stay in the process. You have to trust that your pain is pointing you in the right direction. Don't fight it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Learn from it. Use it. Some of the most powerful people you've ever seen, they were built in silence. They were built in pain. They were built in the dark when no one was clapping for them, when they were crying themselves to sleep, when they didn't know how they were going to make it. But they didn't give up. They didn't give up. They didn't make pain their identity. They made it their fuel. They let it sharpen them. And eventually they emerged from the fire stronger, wiser, more focused, and ready for purpose. You have that same choice. You can let the pain bury you, or you can let it build you. You can pretend it doesn't exist, or you can face it and find out what it's trying to tell. Stop treating the pain like a prison. Start treating it like preparation. Because the pain didn't come to stay. It came to signal something. It came to move you. It came to elevate you. And once you learn to listen to it, everything changes. The pain is not your end, it's your beginning. It's not your defeat, it's your direction. Listen closely, because pain always comes with a message. Purpose is born in adversity. It doesn't show up when everything is perfect. It doesn't reveal itself when you're comfortable, when you got everything handed to you, or when life is easy. Purpose comes from the fire, from the storm, from the chaos that tries to break you, but ends up making you. That's the part most people don't see. They want to walk in their calling. They want to be great. They want to inspire others, but they don't want to go through what it takes to discover that greatness. You don't find purpose on the mountaintop. You find it in the valley. Adversity strips everything away that's not essential. It takes the distractions, the fake friends, the comp, the pride, and it leaves you face to face with who you really are. It puts you in a place where you either break down or break down. And that's the birthplace of purpose. That's where you stop playing small. That's where you stop pretending and start becoming. Because when life knocks the wind out of you, you stop caring about what people think. You stop chasing applause and start chasing meaning. Adversity removes the fluff. It leaves only the real. People talk about finding themselves, but you don't find yourself in luxury. You find yourself when you've lost everything but your fight. When your bank account is empty, when nobody believes in you, when the doors keep closing, when the world says you're finished, that's when the seed of purpose starts to grow. Because now it's not about impressing anyone. Now it's about survival. Now it's about tapping into something deeper, something that was always there but never got activated. Adversity presses that button. And once that purpose wakes up in you, you don't go back. You can't go back. You've seen too much. You felt too much. When you've been broken and still chose to rise. When you've been overlooked and still kept showing up. When you've been counted out but still kept counting on yourself. You become unstoppable. You become a different breed. That's what adversity does. It doesn't just give you a story. It gives you depth. It gives you vision. It gives you a voice. There are people walking around today with purpose that was birthed out of their pain. They're coaching others through heartbreak because they survived their own. They're starting nonprofits because they remember what it was like to go without. They're building businesses because they know what it means to grow up with nothing. Their adversity gave them an assignment. Their suffering gave them strategy. Their darkest days became the foundation for their destiny. Purpose doesn't come from wishing or waiting. It comes from going through. It comes from saying, this hurts, but I won't stop. This is hard. Oh, I'm not quitting. I don't see the whole path yet, but I'm still walking. That's where purpose is found. In the grit, in the tear, in the moments where quitting feels like the only option, but you choose to keep going anyway. Adversity pulls purpose out of you like a sword from stone. And once it's out, it becomes your weapon. Not just for your survival, but to help others survive too. The people who make the biggest difference in the world are the ones who didn't let adversity define them. They let it refine them. They let it refine them. They let it teach them. They ask the hard questions. They face the pain instead of numbing it. They embrace the challenge instead of running. And now they don't just have a story, they have a mission. They don't just have scars. They have tools. They turn their trials into testimony. That's what purpose looks like. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's powerful. When adversity comes, it's easy to ask, why me? But the better question is, what now? What do I do with this? How do I grow through this? How do I make sure this doesn't break me but builds me? Because if you're breathing, if you're still here, that means purpose is still in you. That means the adversity didn't win. And if it didn't kill you, it came to develop you. That setback was a setup. That struggle was a signal. It was preparing you, molding you, shaping you into someone who can carry purpose without folding under pressure. Don't despise your adversity. Don't curse the pain. One day you're going to look back and realize it was the best thing that ever happened to you. Not because it felt good, but because it grew you. Because it caused something out of you that nothing else could. And now that you've seen what's inside you, there's no going back to average. There's no settling. You met the real you in the fire. And that person was born to live with purpose. Fear is a thief. It's not just something that makes you feel nervous or hesitant. It actively steals from you. It robs you of your potential. It robs you of opportunity. It robs you of the life you were meant to live. Some of you don't even realize how much fear has cost you because you've gotten comfortable with playing defense. You've learned how to survive instead of thrive. You built your whole life around managing fear instead of mastering it. And every time fear knocks on the door, you let it in like it owns the place. You want to start that business? Fear tells you you'll fail, and you listen. You want to apply for that promotion. It reminds you you're not qualified enough, and you back down. You want to speak in front of people. Share your story. Let the world see who you really are. Fear whispers that nobody cares, and you believe it. But let me ask you this. How many blessings have you missed because fear talked you out of them? How many times have you stood at the edge of breakthrough but turned around because fear said, it's not safe? You thought you were protecting yourself, but really you were sabotaging yourself. Fear doesn't just show up once. It's consistent. It comes back over and over, dressed up in different clothes. Procrastination, self-doubt, perfectionism, people-pleasing. Sometimes fear doesn't scream. Sometimes it comes softly. Or maybe now's not the right time. Or let me wait until I'm more ready. Or let me get just a little better before I try. And before you know it, you've wasted years listening to fear and calling it wisdom. Let me be clear. Fear is not your friend. It doesn't care about your future. It's not trying to protect you. It's trying to control you. It's trying to keep you exactly where you are, stuck, average, hidden. And the longer you let fear run the show, the more it becomes your identity. You start telling people, oh, I'm just shy, or I've always been nervous, or that's just not me. But the truth is, that's not who you are. That's just who you become after years of letting fear lead. You can't be great and be loyal to fear at the same time. You've got to choose, because fear doesn't coexist with faith. It doesn't coexist with freedom. Fear suffocates purpose. It drains energy. It makes you settle for crumbs when you were supposed to feast at the table. And if you don't confront it, fear will become your ceiling. No matter how hard you work, how smart you are, how big your dreams are. If fear is still in charge, you'll never go higher than the limits it sets. Some of you think you're stuck because you don't have the resources or the right people or the right timing. But you're not stuck because of your situation. You're stuck because of your mindset. Fear has you walking in circles. Fear has you talking yourself out of your own blessings. Fear has you dressing up your excuses as logic. What if it doesn't work? That's fear. Or what if I embarrass myself? That's fear. What if I lose everything? That's fear. But let me flip that for you. What if it does work? What if you win? What if this is the very thing that changes your entire life? You'll never know unless you push past the fear. You don't defeat fear by avoiding it. You defeat fear by confronting it. You walk right into it, scared and all, and say, oh, let's go. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move anyway. People who win at a high level, they're not fearless. They're just unwilling to let fear decide their future. You've got to develop that kind of fire. That kind of internal strength that says, I might be scared, but I'm not stopping. I might shake, but I'm still stepping. I might fall, but I'm getting back up. Fear only has power when you obey it. When you stop obeying it, it loses its grip. And every time you do something scared, you take your power back. Every time you do something uncomfortable, you grow. Every time you stop shrinking and start stretching, you get closer to the version of you that fear tried to bury. And there's another level of life waiting on the other side of your fear, but you'll never see it if you don't go through it. The breakthrough isn't coming around the fear, it's coming through it. You can't keep playing it safe. Safety might keep you from getting hurt, but it also keeps you from being great. And greatness requires risk. Greatness requires exposure. Greatness requires vulnerability. That's what fear doesn't want you to know. That the very thing you're afraid of is the very thing that will make you stronger. So the next time fear speaks, don't just sit there. Talk back. Remind fear who you are. Remind fear of the purpose on your life. Remind fear of every time you've gotten up before. Every time you've made it through, every time you've grown stronger in the dark. Because fear is a liar, and you believed it for long enough. Let pain build resilience. You don't become strong by avoiding pain. You become strong by enduring it, learning from it, and choosing to rise every single time it tries to keep you down. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. It's forged in the moments when quitting would be easier, but you refuse to give in. It's developed in the silence, when no one sees your struggle, when no one understands your journey, but you keep grinding anyway. Pain is the training ground for resilience, and if you embrace it, you'll come out stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than you ever imagined. Most people try to escape pain. They see it as the enemy, something to run from, something to get rid of as fast as possible. But what they don't realize is that pain is the invitation to grow. It's the teacher that never lies. It reveals your weaknesses. It exposes the places you still need to grow. But it also shows you what you're capable of surviving. It shows you what you're made of. When you go through something painful and you're still standing on the other side of it, you gain a new level of confidence. You start to understand that you are more powerful than you thought. And no matter what life throws at you, you can handle it. Resilience isn't about pretending you're okay all the time. It's not about being emotionless or tough on the outside while falling apart inside. It's about feeling every bit of the pain, acknowledging the struggle, and still choosing to move forward. It's crying and then getting up. It's breaking down and then building back up again. Resilience means you bend, but you don't break. It means you stumble, but you don't quit. It means you feel fear, but you don't let it stop you. Every painful experience you faced has been shaping this part of you, the part that refuses to be defeated. When life hits you, it's not always fair. Sometimes it's brutal. Sometimes it feels personal. But resilience says, I'm not staying here. I might be hurting, but I'm healing. I might be down, but I'm getting back up. That mindset is what separates those who just survive from those who thrive. Because pain will come to all of us. But not everyone will use it to grow. Not everyone will use it to grow. Not everyone will develop the character and grit needed to go to the next level. But you can. You can choose to let every scar, every wound, every heartbreak become a brick in the foundation of your strength. The truth is, some of the strongest people you know are the ones who've been through the most. They didn't become resilient because life was easy. They became resilient because they kept standing through the fire. They kept fighting when it didn't make sense. They kept believing when all the evidence pointed to failure. And that resilience became their superpower.